Hello, Jamie. Welcome back. Welcome to all of you early risers to the stream. You were fast. You were quick. I am impressed. Incredible work. Now, of course, it's probably because you're in the Discord. You're getting the notifications. So, still, you got that notification and you were ready. Very impressive. Nice emoji, Sage. How are we? No, Jamie, correction. You were waiting all day, actually. You were waiting since the stream ended last night, is kind of what I'm going to have to just correct you on there. Hey, Acela. Welcome back. Thank you for liking the live, Acela. What? Stream ended. Let's try and restart this baby. I don't know why that happens, but it sometimes happens. So here we are back again. Thank you again for liking the live, Acela. Yeah, so I believe Sage was saying something about urgent care and medication of some sort. I kind of missed it for the most part, but that's good, I guess. That you hopefully are no longer ill or under whatever condition you happen to be under there. Thank you for liking the live, Jamie. Thank you, Jamie. I appreciate it. Glad you think so. So, I have heard about some of your days today. Some of your day. Multiple of you. But there are others that I was not able to hear from. For whatever reason, you were not active in the Discord or you're not a part of the Discord. So you're going to have to lay it on me now. Let me know how your day was. How are things going? How is your Friday shaping out? Of course, we are now at the end of your Friday and your nightly routine has begun. You're here with me, as you should be. So you're here, we're here, welcome back. But that's what we need to know, how it's actually going. How was your day? What happened? Well, comment again. Your comment that I can't see does not help me very much, unfortunately. But of course, we are in the stream lobby, so to speak. We are here, we're catching up, we're doing our usual catching up. How was your day? What's going on? Blah, blah, blah. Until we really get into the meat of the stream and things really pick up. All the early risers, all the quick joiners are here now. And you guys get the early bird special of getting some one-on-one check-in time, I suppose. I already know yours. That's good. I mean, I do. Not everybody else does, but I personally do know, so that's good. My day was the same. the same as usual. Literally the same as always. Tomorrow will be more of the same as always, except the weekend version of the same as always. But the better question is, how was my day? And I will say this, because it doesn't require an extremely lengthy monologue on the topic. It was a good day. It was a good day. Productive, good, and I got done everything that I wanted to get done for the most part. As much as I knew I had time for, so I set realistic goals within those constraints and accomplished everything that I wanted to. So I'm happy about that. That is very good, Sage. I'm glad that you are getting that illness sorted out. Proud of you. Happy for you. Thanks for sharing the live, Jamie. Appreciate all of you who are liking the live and sharing the live, because, of course, that gets out the stream to the people that need to see it, that maybe didn't see the Discord notification yet or haven't seen it yet. And thank you, Shay. Welcome to the stream, number one. Thank you. I'm glad you think so. I appreciate it. Fabby, hello. Welcome to the stream. Superfan Rivers is in the house. Let's go. You know what? I would say it's pretty awesome, Jamie. I would say it's pretty decently awesome. Yeah. Thanks for sharing the live, Sage. Welcome back, Othello. And I was just saying, as Superfan Rivers entered the house and Othello entered the house, that I was making sure that everybody knows I greatly appreciate, as always, when you share the live to the rest of the community that isn't here yet. Maybe they didn't see the Discord message. Maybe they haven't seen the TikTok notification, whatever it might be. Thank you guys for sharing the live. Getting everybody in here that needs to be here or would want to be here. And thank you for liking the live as well. Othello, getting straight to work. You know how it is. You know how it is. So, let's get straight into it. Once we have a level of ability to even get into it, I suppose. Thank you for the rose, Othello. Once we have a bit of an ability to even get into it to begin with, because of course where the conversation goes, where the stream goes is almost entirely up to you. So silence is, not necessarily conducive to a productive or entertaining live stream, of course. But that is also a consequence of not the full community not being here. So, we're still in our stream lobby time. People are still trickling in. That's how it goes. It's what it does. Well, indeed, Rivers, it's kind of that time, right? It's that time of the year. It's this particular week and this particular weekend within this particular month of this year where family starts coming into play, which is great. I'm really glad that you've got to see even just a singular member of your family unit. That's great. Jamie says, my kids asked my friend to trade my son's giant dino toy for my nephew's new baby sister. Wow. I mean, that's a pretty fair trade, I would say. Pretty fair trade. Like, giant dinosaur toy is a fairly even swap for a living, breathing baby human. I bet she's adorable, Jamie. You should have sent photos to the Discord. or a photo. Candy, hey, what's going on? Welcome to the stream. Othello agrees, because of course she does. Come on. Othello and I are in agreement on many things. But also, it's just, I mean, come on. Hopefully all of you agree with that one in particular. Wow, Othello, 300 messages in the live. That's pretty impressive. It's actually pretty impressive. Jamie sent one out, what was it, last night, that said she got an award for being in the live for 500 minutes. Wild. That's also amazing. Nah, you do not, Othello. You definitely don't. You're not like, you're not like one of the most talkative people. You're like really focused on liking the live, and at times you speak in the stream, which is amazing. But, you know, I definitely wouldn't characterize you or categorize you into somebody that's like every other message or anything like that. So don't worry about that. And if you were, that'd be great. Totally fine. I would love that too. Jamie's got 300 comments in the live, and she's been here almost half the time you have, Othello. So she lives in another smaller town. She's staying with you for a week, so it must be, you know, a relatively decent distance away from you if she's actively staying with you for a week. And that's great. That's good. How far away? How many hours would it take to transport yourself there? Yeah, it's in the fan club, Sage. The fan club tells you kind of, if you can manage to find that menu in that situation, it tells you where, that is where it tells you how many comments you've sent, how long you've been a part of the community, blah, 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 blah. So 2 hours, yeah, that's definitely a decent distance, especially to justify staying. But even if she lived close, might as well, right? Nice close family time. It's good stuff. 300 comments as well. $300 comments as well for you, Sage. Thank you for the heart me as well, Othello, and thank you for the heart me, Sage. Well, that's a little strange that you suddenly jumped to 400 comments in the matter of 1 minute. That's very strange, but very cool. I guess I'll choose to believe the 400 message there. Hey, Tay, welcome to the stream. Yeah. So your grandmother's domicile went up in a conflagration. That's literally terrible, tragic, and I'm so sorry to hear it. However, I am extremely relieved to hear and know that she is safe and she's okay, you know, and she survived, because things like an abode are replaceable, but your grandmother is irreplaceable. So we can be grateful and thankful right there. Oh, yeah. Yeah, Sage, that does happen, especially in the fan club, because if you're not like actually active in the community, it will freeze. So that makes sense that yours had frozen. That's good though. So we've got you updated now to the 400 that it really actually truly is. That's good. Very good. Oh, your grandmother writes poetry as well, I'm assuming, then, in that case. That's good inspiration, I would say, in that case. Jamie, thank you for the finger heart. Finger heart right back to you. I appreciate it. It's like you said, Jamie. It's literally like you said. I don't really ask for anything other than support on the streams and support on the music, because that's the only real way that I can continue doing them, either of those two things, and especially the only way that I can continue doing them in the capacity that I do them, in terms of frequency and duration. So, it is very meaningful to me and very much appreciated. But we'll see how this goes, baby. She loves hearing your poems. It's good. I mean, especially since she is a relatively allegorical human being, it would make sense that you reciting your prose to her would be, just a really beautiful thing for her. Because, as a poet herself, she probably thoroughly understands poetry and the intricacies behind it. Not just the feelings that it evokes, but also truly the skill that is required to write effective and evocative poetry. So you shouldn't be sorry for anything, Jamie. As I said, it made my day, so there is literally no reason to be apologetic for something that I have literally claimed was one of the highlights of my day, and the community needed to see that. I was super appreciative to see that, and it sparked a greater conversation amongst the community, which I think is a beautiful thing. So what's going on, XP? Welcome to the stream. And I'm not a poet technically. However, I am happy to fill that role for you if that's how you see me. Although I think that if you actually, become part of the community and are a regular member in the stream and sort of get to know me and my comportment a bit better, you would probably not feel that way as much. I'm not so much of a Edgar Allan Poe type or a poet type, although I do write prose in the form of lyrics, so there is a level of allegory to what I do, but not in a completely similar way. Relatively similar way. But Silver, what's going on? Welcome to the stream, and thank you. Yes, that comparison I can definitely get down with, and I agree with you on that. I do. A lot of people do say that. Echo, thanks for the follow. Welcome to the community. Sorry to hear that, XP. That's no good. No good, no fun. And that's, it's a very interesting, well, I definitely don't have diabetes, but my personality reminds you of him. So I guess you're not qualifying my health status as similar to him. So fair enough. I shouldn't even have said that because you weren't qualifying it that way. But yes, it is interesting, because humans in general, we can tell a lot about somebody instantaneously. It's a very true thing. We're always making judgments on everything we're coming into contact with, everything we're seeing, everything we're experiencing immediately. And so you may have just come to this stream, but you already have some sort of cursory impression, cursory idea of how I might be, who I might be, based mostly probably on my general vibe, my energy, let's say, and my visual representation of myself to you. However, I think that if you go and operate purely off of those assumptions, you would be incorrect most of the time, I think. It's very hard to nail me down, especially purely off of my visual and external representation to the world. But hey, whatever you've got, whatever you see, whatever you're feeling, as long as it's a positive thing, I'm happy with it. We're all prisoners in our own mind, so to speak, and we're all going to have different ideas and thoughts and things of that nature about someone. Your idea of me and feelings about me and thoughts about me are going to be completely different than another person in the community. So, very interesting thing to think about. Nocturnes, I'd love to go to Brazil for sure. I certainly would. Silver, thanks for the follow. Welcome to the community. And so there we go. We are at what? Almost 6,000 likes. Incredible job, guys. Isella, you're killing it. Othella, I'm sure that you are killing it as well. And those of the rest of you who are also liking the live, much love. Love it. Love to see it. I do love to see it. Yeah. Well, if the algorithm is showing you something, then that means that you've obviously expressed some sort of interest through your activity on the app, So if you see somebody that fits the stereotype or the type of person that you're attracted to, then you're going to pause on them, at least for a second, maybe two, maybe longer. And that gives the algorithm the exact signal it needs to serve up more of that for you. That's what it does. That's why it's effective. Because, of course, you want to see more of what you like and more of what you have a preference for. So it makes perfect sense to me. And it would not be a very good app, to be honest, if it wasn't doing that. You can just reset your For You page if you need. Like, if you really genuinely feel like your For You page is trash garbage and it's cursed, then you can literally just go into your settings and reset it. Snap your fingers, it's reset. And then instantly you can reset it and get it to where you want it to be. And same with you, Jay. Well, actually, this is applicable to literally every single individual in here who shares that sentiment. Well, when you say cursed, it implies a negative connotation. So if you're saying that it's cursed in a good way and you've built this yourself and you don't want to let it go and you actually enjoy it, then I actually probably wouldn't have used the word cursed as the adjective in that case to begin with. But so yeah, if you have sort of a For You page that just has a very broad expanse of topics and content that it covers, and you like that, then that's a very good thing for you. In which case, I wouldn't say it's cursed, and especially because, something's not cursed if you, put your own back and energy into it, sort of thing. Welcome back, Jay. What's going on? Yeah, I mean, we all have physical preferences, right, Amira? Of course. Thank you for the heart me, Octavia, and welcome back. Thanks for sharing the live, Jay. Jay says, not much. Had a very interesting but good day. I hope everybody had a good day. Well, I'll tell you what. I had a good day, and I hope that you did as well. Now, you said that you did, so I guess that completely defeats the purpose of me asking the question to begin with. Sorry. Well, Amira, inherent in the statement that you made is the word chosen. So you said all of my chosen people are alternative. And so I was answering the statement of all of the people I choose are alternative. That was the proposition that was made, the statement that was made in your message. So particular, like specifically responding to that statement is me just saying we all have preferences physically, and if you like alternative people, then great, that's your chosen people. But now if you are now sort of reframing the statement, modifying it slightly to say that my For You page is a bunch of gym people with a crying face, which again implies negative connotation, it seems to me, then I'm sorry to hear that, and maybe you should be considering resetting yours, which is what I was also recommended to Jamie. XPLR says, would you ever want to make a self-help book for people who need it the most from your advice and point of view? It's always interested me to write a book, but I don't know if it would be particularly a self-help book. I definitely have a repository of advice. If you go to the Jackson Downer Clips YouTube channel, Instagram, TikTok, that username, that handle is the repository for all of my advice, wisdom, ideas, and things of that nature distilled into a minute or less clips from this very stream. So, that's kind of the best place to house those things, I think. But, I really would like to write a book. However, it's not in my immediate purview, I would say. But, just the fact that you've even asked that question is really sweet, and means a lot to me, like the fact that you would even say that. So thanks for asking. Octavia, thank you for sharing the live. Thank you for those beautiful stickers, Octavia. I do love those. Jay, yeah, it was a great day. It was a great day. Yeah, it's one of those things. Your For You page can show you, it can kind of reveal a lot of things about you, because psychologically the algorithm is very much built purely on, a mathematical framework, right? And as a result of that, there are these little psychological situations that occur as you're swiping through TikTok, as I, kind of expounded upon a few minutes ago, which are things like you might stop on a person that you see come up in front of you for a millisecond longer than something else. These things kind of work as a large language model in a way where it puts your preferences through these multiple layers of filtering, and it very quickly comes to conclusions on the kind of content you like, the kind of people you're attracted to, whatever it might be, very quickly. In many cases, it understands you and your preferences more than you do. So that's a very good point to make, Amira. Hey, 19 Hertz. I'm doing great. How are you? Welcome to the stream. Your For You page, at times, probably does want to sell you things. I think that's a pretty reasonable statement to make. Exactly, Jamie. Words of wisdom indeed. And both Jay and Jamie said, I'd buy and read a self-help book by Jackson. Well, that's incredible. That's incredible to hear. Well, maybe now I'll consider it. XPLR, Jamie, and Jay. Pick two random colors, orange and green. I love that you'd read it in a heartbeat. That is very motivating. Right. Sell it with the shirts. I could sell signed copies as well. Yeah. It would take me time. It would take me time to do these things. But yeah, because like the merch I can come up with pretty quickly because those designs are already created. But the book is not yet. So that will take time. If I even do that, go that route. It would definitely be, it would probably be more like Marcus Aurelius Meditations, because it would be like, a series of aphorisms in succession, and not so much a long form narrative that has any level of exposition or plot, conclusion. It would literally just be kind of a stringing together of helpful concepts and ideas that I've come to. I've either talked about previously or I haven't talked about. Probably a mixture of both. Yep. Full closet of the merch. That'd be great. That would be quite nice. I would love to see that. I always love art that you guys do. Whether it's, just an extremely amateur attempt or somebody who's more skilled in art and artwork. I think it would be, it always has been, many of you guys have done amazing artwork for me, of me, whatever it might be, and I love it. I love all of it. You didn't say you wanted to blend it. You just said pick two random colors, so I just picked two random colors, which are two of my favorite colors. So, I guess technically that's not random, but it is random. I mean, I did pick them completely off the top of my head, but they are my favorite colors. And had you said, I'm going to mix the two colors together, literally, then that may have been a different story, because, yeah, like, orange and green don't technically mix together very well, but... Very true, Jamie. You do, indeed, have a lot of tie-dye skills, so that'd be pretty cool to see. Perfect, Jay. Perfect. So, not only did you make it work, but you like those favorite colors, and you enjoy a challenge. How perfect. How perfect. I love to see it. And hear it. I haven't seen it yet, but I will. I will. That's kind of what I was thinking. By the way, welcome back, Shannon. I was kind of thinking the same thing, that orange and green either make purple or brown. And I don't think purple. No, like, isn't it orange and... Isn't it like... Well, red and yellow make orange, yeah? And then... Doesn't red and orange make brown? Maybe orange and green make brown. So yeah, orange and green just make nothing. Orange and green just make something that's not so fun to look at in terms of when they're combined. That's what I'm getting out of this. It didn't make brown, which is good, because that would be completely contrary to what everybody's been saying in the past few messages. And yeah, Jamie, that sounds really cool. It sounds really cool, the green and black. Green, black, and orange. I mean, yeah, of course I love black too, but when somebody's asking me color-wise, what are my favorite colors, I can't answer with black. People are going to get pedantic and say, tell me that black is the absence of color, blah, blah, blah. True. So I don't say that, but I do love black. And of course the logo is black with white stenciling. But yeah, like I would think that black, orange, and green would be the three that I would choose, but that I would go with. Thanks, Italian. Appreciate it. Favorite color is purple, Shannon. That's very good. Very good. Purple and yellow are a good combo. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, black isn't a color. It is the absence of such, but it is it could be your favorite absence of color, something of that nature. And I am not going to really ever be pedantic to somebody that says, "Yeah, I really like the color black." Like, I'm not going to be like, "Oh, it's not really a color." Like, I'm saying that now just because we are being pedantic for the sake of, but yeah, it's a beautiful color. I love it. As you probably have found out by now. Yeah, midnight purple, like a really dark, rich purple is quite the beautiful color, I would say. I would have to say that I agree with that. And yeah, when people ask me what my favorite colors are, I also feel the same way. I almost always feel the same way. Sorry, what I mean to say is when somebody asks me what my favorite anything is, I always tend to feel the same way, where there's just way too many. Like, I have a lot of different favorites that it's hard to say favorite and then say I have a lot of them, but it's the truth. Like, who's your favorite band? Never have been able to answer that because it's always changing. It's never the same. It's just, it's not really possible for me to answer a question like that. Midnight Purple and Midnight Purple was... Oh, no, sorry. Dark green and black were your wedding colors. Very cool. Burgundy is the best color. It's a beautiful color. I do like burgundy. Obviously, the level of beauty of a color is completely subjective. Completely subjective. So, I get what you're saying. You're kind of just being exaggerative there, but I can't believe it's already almost been an hour. Where does the time go? Where does the time go? Well, this is what happens, sometimes on holiday weekends, these days, these sort of times, they can be a hit or miss. A lot of people are kind of busy. Your first assumption may be that a Friday night, people are going to be up later, but, Friday night could also mean that they're up later doing things. They have things to do. So, as a result, here we are. And that's okay. Yeah, it's even later than that, Snowflake, for me. Favorite tattoo, I couldn't say. Again, like it's another one of those type of questions. I love them all. I really do. They're all beautiful to me. They all are like a favorite for a certain reason. But I don't know, maybe my fingers or something. If I like had to answer, if I really had to answer and throw something out there. Vampalo, welcome to the stream. Thanks for the follow. Welcome to the community. I read and studied a absolute multiplicity of things. There was definitely not a singular thing that I could just pin down and say, yeah, I did this today. A lot of philosophy and psychology today, for the most part. I wouldn't say that asking if I have a favorite anything is condescension at all. I don't think that is a condescending question to ask at all. I do. Like I said, my two favorite colors are orange and green. So I said, and I said that a few minutes ago. I don't think you were here at that point. Maybe you had just joined afterwards or something. But yeah, like I do have favorites in certain things, but there are certain things that I'm just gonna be, completely honest, which I always am, and just say that there's no way I could answer it because I don't have a favorite, because it's in constant flux. What music artist I'm listening to at any given time. Number two, I barely listen to music, and there's that as well. So things like that are just bad, are just too difficult to answer for me. But then there's other things where it's like, yeah, like I've got favorite. I answer all the time, like what some of my favorite book genres are, and things like that. So. Favorite animal, I would say that there's multiple different favorite animals for multiple different reasons, but in terms of like companion animal, maybe like a rabbit or something. Probably a rabbit. Hey Vicky, welcome to the stream. Thoughts on the band Queen? They are cool. They have a nice repertoire of music. Favorite mythical creature? Well, considering your Discord username is Raccoon Lover J, I would say that actually isn't surprising to me whatsoever. And mythical creature, I don't know, man. Maybe a liger. Let's go with that. Because I really don't have an answer. I haven't really gone through and thought through that answer at all. So we'll go liger. Lion and a tiger mixed. Preference, skills, and magic. I don't think that I truly learned, like, took lessons on how to carry myself with such integrity, Amira. That is just something that develops through life experience, I think, in large part. I think that's really where integrity throughout your daily life is going to come from. It's a great question. I'm happy to answer it. But yes, I think that it really is just my temperament, which again is life experiences plus genetics, which then caused me to make the choices that brought me down the particular roads that I chose to go down due to those life experiences and genetics that made me the type of person that would choose those roads and paths to go down. Then I went through those experiences, experienced those experiences, and then my, yet again, temperament and life experiences shaped me into the type of person who has the integrity that I have as a result of those experiences. But it's not so much like I ever particularly sought out that, like, how to embody that trait at all. Dragons are great too, Vicky, for sure, for sure. Oh, I have a whole I have a whole podcast where I read the classics for you guys. Snowflake / Vicky. So right now we're currently reading through Dracula. So within that podcast, the Picture of Dorian Gray has been up for grabs in the poll on which book to do next. We may do that one next. So you can catch that one via the podcast or live as I'm actually reading it in real time. So there's your answer for that. Vicky, thanks for the follow. Welcome to the community. Yep, as I said, if you want it read to you, or yeah, I mean, basically, if you want it read to you, then the podcast is there for you. And then on the Twitch streams that we do on the weekends, we read a new chapter, the next chapter that we're on, and then after which that stream is finished, then I release that as the podcast, as the next episode. Nope. So our first season of the podcast is dedicated to Dracula. So we are on Dracula right now. However, Frankenstein was, of course, on the list to read for season 1, but no, we went with Dracula. It was a majority vote, and so we went with that. But again, like even the podcast album cover has Frankenstein on it. And a few other classic characters, so you'll see what I'm talking about. So, of course, it's definitely on the TBR for the podcast. Snowflake, thanks for the follow. Welcome to the community. Louis, thanks for the follow. Welcome to the community. I'm only ever going to be reading the original versions, because if I wasn't reading the original versions, I would get sued because I would be reading copyrighted content in a modern translation that is not in the public domain. So, of course, I will be always reading the 100% original text, as we are with Dracula. Lord of the Rings is not in the public domain, unfortunately, Vicky. So it, it would not be able to be. I have the Lord of the Rings behind me, and I've already read through it all multiple times. So I like to read books that are either books that I haven't read in a long time, or books that books that are new to me, although I know of them, or books that I don't know of, but they're still new to me. So for those couple of reasons, especially the non-public domain reason, Lord of the Rings is definitely not up there on the TBR. But yes, indeed, Spotify. The podcast is on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts. So, and the Spotify version has video as well. So does the YouTube version. All the others are audio only. But Percy Jackson series, I have read that, Vicky. Good stuff. Do I like musicals? They're okay. Like, they're not something that I would necessarily go specifically to seek out. I go to books more for pure raw narrative, and I go to music when I want pure music. But musicals have their place, and I think that they're a really beautiful and great art form. Not necessarily something that I myself seek out and consume regularly, if at all. And again, keep in mind, folks, I don't have much time to do anything, anything new, because I'm just already doing so much all the time. And that includes being on stream and reading an entire other book in conjunction with my regular personal daily life, where I'm always reading a book as well. And on top of that, doing extensive research and studying into other topics. And on top of that, editing the next video that's going to get released to you guys. It's just an endless cascade of tasks and work that I have to do. It's like, I don't really have free time. It doesn't exist. Me being on the stream right now, it would be my free time if I wasn't streaming. If I wasn't streaming, I wasn't a live streamer, then this would be it. But I don't have it. After the stream is over, it's usually about 2:30 or 3 in the morning, and I kind of have to go to bed, because then I wake up early the next day to get done all of those tasks over yet again. And I also got to fit exercise in there somewhere. There's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff. But yeah, I try. I mean, the reason I do anything that I do is for you guys. So, of course, as a result of that, you could say you're spoiled, I suppose, Jamie. Yeah. It's a nice way to think of it. I put in a lot of work for you guys, and I'm thankful that I enjoy it and that you guys want it. And the podcast has been immensely successful, which I'm really thankful for. Othello said that she was just re-listening to the whole podcast while she was working. That is amazing to hear, Othello. I'm really glad to hear it. Really glad to hear it. And honestly, hundreds of you guys have been listening to the podcast on YouTube, and then hundreds others of you have been listening to it on just the regular podcast platforms. It's been immensely successful. We're only 5 chapters in, and it's already going incredibly. So I'm really excited about that. Happy about that. I also would like in the future probably to do one where I'm talking about topics and, kind of like the stream, but I'm it's purely just my own narrative. Instead of sort of you guys in the chat steering the conversation, I'm more just going in whichever direction that I want. But as for right now, yeah, it's, we're purely just doing the literary reading podcast at this moment. And that's been a lot of fun because so many of you have always wanted me to either do a podcast or do an audiobook or both. But at some point, I'll probably launch the other podcast where it's more like just the Jackson Downer podcast as opposed to the reading podcast, which is called the Jackson Downer Reads podcast. Any advice for a psychology major? Well, my advice with any study within any topic is you're going to be greatly benefited if you actually enjoy and are interested in the topic that you are pursuing and studying. Otherwise, you're going to hate it every step of the way, and you're not going to be nearly as successful with it, and you're also probably not even going to pursue the career path once you graduate, which is very common, actually, and surprisingly, it is. So, that's number one. Assuming that you do enjoy it, that's why you chose to pursue it, then the advice that I would have is just leverage that interest into a hunger for psychological knowledge. Like really, really leverage it. Find psychologists and people that speak on psychology that you really enjoy. Listen to them as much as you can. Read as many psychological nonfiction texts as you can, just things of that nature. Really embroil yourself within the field and the topic. But you have to want that, and this, of course, as you can hear from me, it comes at the cost of being able to, watch movies and watch TV shows and listen to music all the time and like do all these leisure activities. And that's why I say you need to truly love it if you're going to embroil yourself in it to that degree, because, that's me. I'm describing myself here, but that's because I want to, because, my value hierarchy, so to speak, in terms of what is most important to me, is knowledge and study and just things of that nature. So that's if you want to truly, have psychology as a sort of second nature. If you want to be just completely embroiled and an absolute professional, like the sort of person that goes into class and honestly probably knows more than the professor in a lot of aspects, especially if you're like first year, things like that. If not, then just do your regular studies and leave enough room and interest in the topic and in the subject for you to enjoy the hour or two per night that you have to do your homework or do your studying for the next test or whatever it might be, like a normal person would. Amira, you had asked something. Man, I've got to scroll up and find it before I go any further. Why do you choose to be brutally honest? Because I find lying to be morally reprehensible. I find lying to be, especially to people that matter to you, like my community here, to not benefit anyone, even if you might find that a simple lie or a not so simple lie is going to be beneficial to that person in the short term, so as to make them not feel slight aversion or sadness in the immediate present. Long term, that lie will not benefit that person, and it will be generally bad. And lying essentially is pretty much bad in all cases. So, and I've done a lot of thinking about that, like deep thinking, philosophical thought on that. And yeah, I don't think that you should ever lie to somebody that, especially somebody that you care about, or even to try and get a one up on a situation that you're in or something. And there's deep reasons for this, for all of these things. I will not go into all of them. I will just give you the sort of macroscopic answer to your question and just say, yeah, like, now there's a way to be brutally honest while not being brutal. Like, I'm brutally honest in a way that is still caring about your feelings, any one of you that I'm being honest to or speaking to. Like, I'm being honest in a way that is still kind and compassionate, and that it's coming from a place of care and respect. And honestly, I don't think that somebody actually has your best interest at heart if they purport to be your friend, or somebody that loves you, yet they're constantly lying to you and being sycophantic and just telling you everything that they think that you want to hear. That's not actually what a true friend does. Somebody that truly has your best interests at heart. Because ultimately, even though it's hard to hear, sometimes, depending on the truth that you're slapped with, it ultimately benefits that person in the long run. And that's obviously why the person's asking you the question. The person isn't asking you a question because they want to hear the sycophantic lie. They're asking you the question or they're asking you for the opinion because they want to hear the truth, of course, and because they trust your opinion. If they want sycophantic lies, then they're going to go to the person that gives them sycophantic lies. But you should be the person that they want to come to when they want a true, honest opinion, and they know that they can trust you, because relationships, especially successful relationships, interpersonal relationships, are predicated on trust. 100%. Trust is like the highest virtue in a successful and beneficial interpersonal relationship between two people or a group of people. So, good question. Good question indeed, Amira. Yeah, Danielle, well, I hope you like it. I hope you like it. I hope you like any and all of the content that I have out there for you and for all of you. I'm glad you would love to listen to that, Othello, as well. The theoretical, hypothetical podcast that I had sort of spoken about a little bit there. London, thank you for the follow. Welcome to the community. I mean, you could pursue psychology for whichever reason that you want, Vicky, as long as you are pursuing it because you have a genuine predilection for it and you have a genuine interest in it. Like, you really need that. So regardless of if you're going to pursue psychology in order to understand why humans love to waste their time on frivolous things, which I can give you the answer to, if that's the only reason, or one of the only reasons that you want to pursue psychology, then of course the second that I answer that question and you now know the answer, then, well, now you have no interest in psychology? No, of course not. Like, you've got to be interested in psychology as a whole, of course. So I'm sure that is the honest answer from you. And again, I'm trusting in good faith that you are pursuing this subject because you have a genuine interest in psychology at large, which is a good thing, and that's what you want, So honestly, you don't need much advice from there, really. I was more just giving you advice on the topic of if you want to be like hyper successful in your studies. Amir says, this is why we want your dreams to come true, because you're actually hardworking, smart, and honest. You're so smart and driven. You should become a professor for real. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. And I'm glad you think so. Nah, you should never, like, so this is the thing. I was actually thinking about this post stream last night. So, like, oh, what was it exactly? So some of you would ask me what my studies entailed, what particular subjects I had pursued, things like that. Where does my wheelhouse of knowledge lie? And I answered that question, and I was just thinking that I really should have added on to that statement that even though my formal studies have concluded, in no way do I think that you should ever think that just because your formal studies have concluded, that your studies have concluded. You are not going to be an effective psychologist, philosopher, neuroscientist, whatever it might be, if you feel that, well, I got my degree. Like, no. Number one, research and literature is always coming out. There's always advancements in every field. Number two, you always want to hone your skills. You're not going to become a truly great professional that is, number one, you're never going to become all-knowing. You're never going to become like an absolute complete repository for every single thing that has ever been published in the realm of whatever subject we're talking about. So you should always continue your studies. And that's why I always continue my studies. So yes, the reason why I do everything that I do is for a genuine, is due to a genuine love for what I do. There's no I am a very goal-driven person, but when it comes to these sorts of things, there's no I really need to hit this level of knowledge and then I'm never going to learn again. Of course not. And plus, that's such an arbitrary statement to make. What level of knowledge? And how do you know that you're really there? You know what I mean? It's hard to quantify your level of knowledge. So yeah, it's just a thing that you should pursue forever. Really. You can only improve. You can always improve. Whether that's your skill with an instrument, let's go with guitar, you could just get good enough at guitar to start playing chords and do the basics, or you could continue to learn to play guitar forever, and you will always improve, and you will always learn new techniques and scales and things that will be beneficial to your playing of that instrument. And there are sort of adjacent benefits to learning anything that you're learning. There's ridiculous neurological and psychological benefits to learning an instrument, for instance. Even just study, let's say you're really into studying philosophy, that's what you like, that's what you do. Just even the skill of studying, the skill of learning is an incredible skill to have in your daily life outside of the specific studies on that specific topic. So, yeah. Honesty is extremely important, Jamie, for sure. Yes, Snowflake, you will hear me use many words that you have either never heard before or never heard used in actual conversation before, so I'm not surprised by that statement, and I appreciate you saying that, though. Jay says, learning never stops, no matter what. Indeed. Thank you for the follow, person who doesn't have a username. Welcome to the community. I'm good, as always, Michelle. Hopefully you are also doing well. $18K likes, by the way. Incredible work, guys. Incredible work. Yeah, I mean, we're pretty close to 20K already, which is great. Othello is always just leading us in the likes. She goes hard. And then at the same time, we, of course, have what the rest of you guys just absolutely killing it. Amazing. Really amazing. 19K already. Super impressive. Yeah, I would say that it's incredibly beneficial for your brain to learn at least something new every day. Try to. And, honestly, one of the best ways to do that, if anything else, if you really want to just not change anything about your life, just continue coming to the stream, because when you are here in this stream, you will learn at least one new thing every single day. At the very least, you will. So you technically, if you're here right now, which you are, if you're hearing this message, unless you're listening to the stream archive or the VOD, just continue doing what you're doing, because you're already doing the right thing in pursuit of learning at least one new thing every day by being here. Don't really have to change anything about your life in order to do that. Exactly, Othello. I'll give you the support you need. BH, hello, welcome to the stream. Thanks for the follow, BH. Welcome to the community. Veronica, thank you for the follow as well. Welcome to the community. Yeah, I think we can easily... I mean, we've already surpassed 20K likes very quickly. Very quickly. That was really fast. I am sorry to hear that you had trouble with that, Michelle, but I guess it could be a lot worse, technically. The trouble that you've had could be far worse than trouble with a book. So if that's your troubles, then that's at least a positive note, right? But either way, I'm sorry you've had troubles in general. $30K, let's see how fast we can hit that. I'm good, BH. How are you? How are you? It's good that you're okay, though. It's very good that you're okay, ultimately. But I'm fairly certain that colic surgery for your equine companion is... that form of surgery is a fairly routine surgery, from what I understand. It's not like some crazy risky surgery. I think that it will. I think that they'll be ultimately okay, which is good. But of course, they'll have to recover and go through the motions of all that stuff, which is always fun. Always fun. Hopefully they have a speedy recovery. Yeah, well, Michelle, I assume that these things take time. Although if it's taking a lot longer than expected, then that's not good and stressful. Melissa, thank you for the heart me. Okay, he's already in recovery. Beautiful. Beautiful. Very good. Yeah. Yeah, that's true, Jamie, because like you really do have to not stop liking in order to see like the absolute tally of all your likes in succession. You can't just like stop and type and then go back to it. So yeah, I get it. I get it. And that's great. How many did you? Oh, you got 2.6K. Incredible. It's actually quite a bit. That's quite a bit. Just even just imagining tapping your screen 2,600 times. That's a lot. That is a lot. Okay. Well, then you obviously understand why it's taking so long, and it's not super unexpected because you technically did not scribe the book in the exact way that would get it published immediately. Rewriting it may be the best bet. Just depends on what you actually think is the best use of your time. You know, if that's really going to improve anything or make anything happen, because, you know, by the time you finish rewriting, then will it already be published halfway through that? And then now you've got a bunch of wasted time in your hands, or could you better spend that time doing, you know, other things? Who knows? Yeah. Yeah. BH, that's kind of the thing. That's kind of the thing. You do have to wait before you can really get into anything in depth. Because, yeah, you want to make sure that he's 100% doing well, healed up, and not in the recovery process anymore. And if there's any necessary physical therapy to do, then that's also important. Well, that's good, Michelle. So I guess we've kind of come to a natural conclusion that you're okay, and what you had initially seemed to be a little bit worried or stressed about, you're not actually worried or stressed about. So that's good. Neither horses or show horses nor working horses, but they're both retired, so it's chill. That's very good. That's very good. So they're just kind of they're just kind of companions, which is a very good thing. That's what I support, 100%. Kimberly, thank you. I actually do narrate. I voice books. I have a whole podcast that we launched recently where I read books for you guys on the podcast. So your prayers have been answered, so to speak. And number two, I'm glad that you think so and that you like my voice. And, you know, a big part of the reason why I even started the podcast and started introducing that bit of work into my repertoire of work is because so many of you have requested that I do exactly that for so long. And so I finally gave in and did it. It's just called Jackson Downer Reads. You can find all the things I do on the all my links link on my TikTok. So you've got plenty of my voice to listen to, that's for sure. That's the way to do it, BH. That's the way to do it. 3. That's a good way to divide it, Jamie. If you see that that's the best way to do it, then that's the best way to do it. Kim, thanks for the follow. Welcome to the community, officially. What's going on, Ken? Welcome to the stream. That is exciting, Jay. I'm happy for you. Yeah, that's more of a equine sanctuary than more than anything, BH. Which again, I will quickly reiterate, that is what I'm all about. That's what I support, and that's what I'm into. 100%. Melissa, thank you for the 5 rosas. Getting us on track with the stream support goal. I love to see it, and I appreciate you. And thank you for the heart me as well. Well, privilege is a 100% a continuum. Most any of us that even have a phone and are able to be here on TikTok watching me do this stream right now are incredibly privileged compared to the vast majority of humans that exist in the world today. However, I know what you mean. And yeah, well, here's the thing. Any level of equine care or activities require an immense amount of, well, time and funds. It simply does. You cannot be an impecunious person and effectively care for horses at all. So why not? Because horses and taking care of them are incredibly, it's just a very expensive thing. Just a very expensive thing to do. And I said you can't be impecunious and take care of horses. So if you're asking me why not, in order to challenge me on that, I'm saying, if you don't understand the definition of the word, I'm saying you can't be a poor person and effectively take care of multiple horses that have medical needs and literal equine veterinary needs and things of that nature. Because number one, equine vets are extremely expensive, but just the general care after the vet appointments and all of that care and all of those bills are also extremely expensive. Well, yeah, I mean, that's kind of the industry, BH, which is an absolutely terrible and completely reprehensible industry. Working horses and show horses, because the second that they don't provide any value to the human who purely views them as something to be used and that's about it, the horses are sent to death, essentially. If a racehorse breaks its leg and can't walk anymore, it either gets to be taken in by someone like yourself, which again is why I support what you're doing and what you're trying to do, or they're sent to their death, literally. So yeah, when you say cast to the side, you are being very kind and generous with your verbiage there, because they're not just getting cast to the side. They're getting shot in the head, essentially. And don't be sorry, Rebecca. Don't be sorry at all. I'm just explaining myself to you so that you understand what I mean. Eco, hey, what's going on? Welcome to the stream. Dar, thanks for the follow. Welcome to the community. It is despicable, BH. 100% it is. Yeah. Well, TikTok terms of service would just mute your message. It wouldn't do anything bad to you or the stream. It would just mute your message. But clearly, your message came through just fine. There's no muting or silencing or any TOS infraction in what you just said or anything. So you're all good. And this is why, I don't mince words or anything of that nature. I do not care for euphemisms or lies or, well, yeah, euphemisms is really the best word for it when it comes to what the reality is with animals, because we need to actually get real. We need to actually talk about and understand what actually happens here. And it is despicable. It is completely morally reprehensible. And most of us, unless you are actually morally consistent in your life, support it in one way or another. 100% in your daily life. So this is why we need to be very real and honest. We had a big conversation about honesty earlier about the situation, for sure. Yeah, yeah. You don't want to soften it, BH. That's for sure. And again, this is also why this is also my effort to not cheapen what you do for horses and such. Because if I was cheapening it, then yeah, they get cast to the side and you're just helping. No, you're literally saving their lives because they're no longer useful to the industry, and they're going to die if you don't save them. So yeah, you're literally saving their lives, and cheapening it also serves to cheapen what you do for them. And I also don't want to say or do that. And as I said, it is no small task financially, and also depending on where you live and the level of space that you have to even do this to begin with. Yes, but the fact that you can and choose to is still like you're cheapening yourself by saying, "Oh, well, I inherited money and land." Well, but here's the reality, BH. Don't cheapen it. You don't have to appeal to, well, I have privilege. Well, once again, like I said, many people have privilege. We all have privilege here. Number two, I can almost guarantee you that 99.9% of every single person in this stream, or just anyone in general, would not choose to use that inherited money and land for what you are using it for. They would use it for purely selfish reasons. So yet again, I say, what you're doing cannot be hand waved by, oh, well, I just have money and land. Like, no, you had to make the active choice to put your money, land, and time into what you're doing, which is a completely selfless act. Like, sure, you might get some companionship from the horses, which is a very good thing, and that's a great thing to get in return. But number one, it's pure companionship. You're not looking at it like, what can they give to me? What value can I get out of them? No, you are purely doing something that's a completely selfless act, which you're not forced to do. So 100% like props to you. And that's where it needs to be, and that's where it needs to stay, because that's what it is, Yeah, especially temperamentally, like animals 100% are better than humans in a multiplicity of ways. Absolutely. Absolutely. Many, many ways. And yes, completely agreed. Completely agreed. They do deserve to live out their lifespan. And They were not put on this earth to serve people or do anything for people. You know, especially in a day and an age, there is an argument to be made. I fully understand. There's an argument to be made for in the past, there was great benefit and kind of a need in a lot of cases for killing animals or using animals either to eat them or ride them to get from, use them as transportation, use them in farming, things of this nature. However, in today's age, especially in affluent countries such as those of you who are on a phone right now watching a TikTok live stream, you have literally no excuse to put your dollars toward the mass exodus of animal lives for you to eat their rotting corpses or to use them or use them as transportation or anything, because they didn't sign up for that for you. You have absolutely no right to use them in such a way. It's absolutely reprehensible and terrible. 100%. So yes, BH, I agree. Thank you, Glinda. I appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, animal industry is synonymous with cruelty. Like, and the animal industry, it's inherent in the name. Like, there's an industry for animals. What industry is that? It's the industry of use, abuse, torture, and death. There's no, like, that's it. Unless you're in the animal sanctuary industry, that's about the only one. Or the animal foster industry, which isn't an industry. And the sanctuary is not an industry either. Like, implicit in the word industry is kind of profit. That word is kind of implicit in the subject of industry. So yeah, like, we can pretty much safely say that the animal industry is nothing but all of the negative things that I've just said previously. But there are good things, like people who take in animals in need or take in strays or, have a sanctuary of some sort. That's amazing that you were still tapping the screen, Othello. And that's okay if you fall asleep or fall asleep again. Yeah, and that'd be very good, BH. That'd be very good if you could, save and help as many as you can. It's an incredibly noble calling, for sure. Estella, thank you for the heart me and the Go Popular. Appreciate that. And yeah, for especially with companion animals as well, like you can put your money toward animals that were bred to, well, just about all the animals that are bred are weird. Like, that's just playing God with animals, and like you're making them breed and like doing weird stuff. That's just a whole weird thing, and also use in general. We've got plenty of strays that need help. We don't need to keep introducing other random animals that humans like the look of, and that's why we want, like, I get it, but it's gross. It's not good. It's, once again, morally reprehensible. And once you know better, you need to start doing better. That's really the long and short of it. Now, it's one thing to say, oh, geez, like, I didn't even know, I didn't even realize, I didn't even think about this in any sort of deep way. Or I kind of knew, but I didn't really understand, since you put it that way, sort of example. And then there's I'm fully understanding of everything that you're saying, makes perfect sense to me. However, I'm going to keep doing it because I don't care. Now, that's a problem. Yeah, lots of abandon. That's for sure. That's for sure. We're Coming up on 2:30 here. Jaden, welcome to the stream, number one. And number two, I'm just here on stream, hanging out with you guys. Yeah, like, they do have empathy for life, BH, in most cases. Like, if I probe their morality, I would 100% come to the conclusion with them that they care, but they just simply think that only human life matters. But when you actually probe them further, you start to get into loads of contradictions in the case where you start to realize that they actually do care about animal life. And this doesn't mean that you have to care about animal life as much as human life. Like, of course, there is a hierarchy. You're going to sympathize and have a level of empathy for your own species more than the member of another. However, that doesn't mean that other lives are worthless just because they don't happen to be your fellow primate life. You know, we're just as much a frickin' animal as any other animal. That's what we are. We are an animal. We are a form of primate that exists on the earth. We're about a half a chromosome away from a chimpanzee. Like, fully understand that, folks. There's not much at all separating us from our primate ancestors and fellow animals. So, but it's natural to be, like, initially selfish, but it's also like that level of selfishness doesn't actually align with the moral framework that you have, because I can guarantee that every single one of you is against, like, animal abuse, let's say, for instance. And I would say it's even more than abuse to shoot an animal in the head for absolutely no reason. And that's what it is, in any case. No reason, unless they're suffering because they're sick and they need to be put out of their misery. Any other case is for actually literally no reason. Because we don't need to eat them. We don't need to use them. So what reason is it for? No good one. And if you're against animal abuse, like kicking a dog in the head, well, that animal abuse is occurring for no reason. You would go and try and stop that person. You'd probably call the police on that person, right? If you saw a cat getting abused, you would call the police or you'd try and stop it. Well, if you saw a cat getting shot in the head for someone to eat it, you would also be equally as incredibly disturbed, and you'd go straight to the police or you'd be upset. Because there's no reason for them to do that. There's also no reason for them to do that to any other animal of any species. There's also no reason for anybody to be riding a horse around. That horse doesn't want you. If that horse had the choice, it wouldn't be wanting you to ride it around and use it or run it on a racetrack for your enjoyment, for you to bet money on it and stuff like that. Or, dog fighting, like all this stuff. So it's all already within your moral framework. You just need to actually align your actions with the morals and values that you purport and say that you have. You say that you have these morals and values, but you need to actually start aligning your morals and your actions with those morals and values. Otherwise, you're a hypocrite. There's no way around this, and there's no argument against it. So the sooner the better, essentially. How did I develop my empathy? Through just deep thought, lots of, deep philosophical research, deep thought, and people explaining the same things to me. you know? Like, because I didn't always understand this and think this way about any of these things, you know? Like, you need somebody to put things in a succinct way for you, and you need to really understand these things on a deep level to make a big change, because I do not discount the fact that things like this can be a big change for someone who regularly partakes in any of the aforementioned activities that I've listed off. But once you know better, you need to do better. And that's what I did, because I am not a hypocrite and I am morally consistent with the values that I say that I have. And once I realized and I knew better, I immediately started taking the steps and doing the work to do better. And it's just an added benefit that I get to do a lot better for the environment and a lot better for my health as an additional result and an additional benefit. Yeah, having a charity can, and like a nonprofit and things like that, can take a little bit of work for sure. You know, I have a business myself. I understand what that takes. It's not a nonprofit, but at the same time, like, I do understand the administrative work in general that it takes. But it's, you know, it's doable. Many people do it. Exactly, BH. Paying lip service to something is far different than actually acting on it. Because you can say all day that you despise animal abuse, you despise animals being hurt for no reason. But if you're actively paying someone every single day, every single week through your actions to do exactly what you say that you're against for your enjoyment, then you are not against animal abuse in your actions. You may say that you are, but unfortunately, if somebody pays a hitman to murder somebody for you, you are culpable in that murder, my friends. Unfortunately, you are. Same as if you pay the slaughterhouse worker to shoot that cow in the head for you, unfortunately, that blood is on your hands. I mean, there's no way around it. That's how it works. I haven't heard of it, Jamie, this dog story that you speak of, but obviously any animal in pain or in a bad situation is terrible, you know? The amount of dogs and cats that are in trouble or get abused is insane, you know? And 10 trillion times that amount is the animals that are systematically under a genocide right now, for people to needlessly munch on their rotting corpses. So, you know, like, there's also that to consider, that hundreds of thousands of animals are systematically genocided on a weekly basis. And people pay for that to happen for no reason, you know? And then on top of that, we've got all of these, you know, people that abuse their own companion animals, which is also terrible. So, Rosalita, what are some morals that a person should have? Well, the one that I'm speaking of, compassion to all living beings, is probably a really good fundamental ethic to hold. Compassion is something that can sort of cascade down and out to many other morals from there, you know. But the biggest one is the number one that I'll answer that question with, even better than compassion. It's adjacent to compassion. It's almost synonymous with, but it's the golden ethic, which is treat others the way that you would want to be treated. And don't just think that the word others means humans, because what I mean is treat all living beings the way that you yourself, who is a living being, an animal, like all other animals who want to live and don't want to die, would want to be treated. It's just as simple as that. That's probably the fundamental golden moral / ethic that you should have and take pride in, I never recommended that you should open a sanctuary illegally, BH, that's for sure. All I said was that I understand what it's like to legally own and operate a business, whether that be a nonprofit or, a corporation of some sort. And I fully recommend doing everything by the law in that case as well, for sure. And it's going to be the best way to do it. Most definitely. And I'm glad that you try to do everything that you can, Jay. That's very good. Very, very good. BH is working toward getting that thing done. And you will. You will accomplish it 100%. Fire Queen, thanks for the follow. Welcome to the community. Any threat? That's interesting. That's interesting, Jamie. Yeah, I'm trying to think of what... Yeah. It's one thing to defend yourself from any animal, right? Like, it is one thing to defend yourself and your family. If an animal has broken into your house and is trying to kill you and your family, then you do have the right to defend yourself. Same as if a human breaks into your house and is trying to do the same thing to you and your family, you have the right to defend yourself. But if this is just wanton slaughter, then it's terrible. And again, I have all the empathy and care in the world for our fellow canine companions. But once again, just to reiterate, like, there's a lot more other species of animals that have it a billion times worse. And here's the thing is I'm sure that, you guys hear me speak on this stuff, so you care and you understand, but many people don't care about these other animals. Many people don't care about them at all because they think that that's where they belong. They don't understand these points. They don't understand these facts that I'm speaking on because they haven't happened to come across them or hear them in this way. So even worse. It gets so much worse than even that. We're lucky that when a dog gets shot in the head, that people actually care, Dogs are lucky in that way. They're a protected animal because we care about dogs and we like cats, but pigs, cows, chickens, fish, who cares about them? They are meaningless. They are essentially mindless automatons whose life doesn't matter. We can kill them at will. And we'll even eat them. Insanity. What's going on, Tom? Welcome to the stream. BH, have a great sleep. Have a great night. I've got to get taken off pretty soon as well. I certainly do. Well, absolutely, Jay. Earth can survive without us. We cannot. And that is a very important thing to understand, that we are the one species that you could take off of the face of the planet. You could completely wipe humans off of the face of the planet. And I'm not advocating for this. I'm just speaking in hypotheticals to support Jay's point that Earth can survive without us and we cannot survive without the Earth. And the fact of the matter is that humans are the one species that you can take off of the face of the planet entirely, and the Earth will actually improve markedly. Everything about the environment and other species, especially other animals that we just, once again, wantonly kill and use, will flourish. Now that's really saying something. That's really saying something. It's a very sad thing. And once again, I will reiterate that I don't think that humans should be wiped off the face of the planet. Humans are beautiful in their way too. Humans can add a lot. And, it's just crazy that the one species that has such a high level of intellect that can fully rationalize and understand the level of harm that they do to the earth and other species is the the one species that knows better and does not do better. They just won't. Now, granted, morality shifts over time and values shift over time, such as in the United States, in the UK, in many countries. I'm naming 2 out of many. Slavery used to be okay. Slavery used to be the norm. In fact, most religions justified it. And if you look back in most of these religious books and texts and corpuses that exist today, they still advocate for it. It's still there in the text. You can see it. It's perfectly okay to do. However, nowadays, we see and we fully understand that this is not okay. But go back 100 years, and this was not at all obvious to people. Most people thought it just as obvious that we need to have slaves and own people and use people, just as they thought the same thing about animals today. But things change over time, and I know what you're thinking. A lot of people will think, hey, why would I stop using and eating animals, let's say, because not everybody else is going to? Well, that is just completely logically fallacious reasoning. That is a complete logical fallacy to think in that way, because if everybody used that argument, nothing would change. Nothing would happen. Do you want to be the person who future generations look back on when they look back on the animal genocide like we look back on human slavery, let's say, or the Holocaust itself back in Nazi Germany, let's say? Do you want to be looked at as those people that wouldn't change and didn't change and fought tooth and nail to continue doing the absolutely morally reprehensible act that they are still doing to this day? No, you probably want to be on the right side of history. And once again, if everyone thought the way you did, nothing would have changed. Slavery would still exist. All of these terrible things would still exist. It takes people that want to be on the right side of history and align their actions with the morals and values that they say that they have in order to create meaningful change in the world. You have to embody the change that you want to see in the world. Kitty, thanks for the follow. Welcome to the community. Well, exactly. Even like pest animals, like you were saying about ticks, Jamie, like even pest animals that are pests to us and pests to many other animal species, they are pretty integral to ecology in general, They really are. Ticks, possums, everything. Yeah, there's definitely still slavery in the world. And we all in this society that has morally progressed to this point understand that those countries are morally reprehensible for doing so. So yes, like I said, in many countries, we don't have slavery and we view it as completely morally wrong. However, in other countries, they do still have it. Yeah, I didn't say every single country, of course. Paige, hello, and thank you. I'm glad that you say that or feel that I am right. Yeah, and again, like it's really not a right or wrong thing. Like it is right. There really is no arguing around this. There is no mental gymnastics around this. it's really not a complex topic. It's pretty simple, honestly. But I'm glad that you see the truth in what I'm saying and that I'm putting it succinctly enough for you to empathize with what I'm saying and really internalize it and understand it. Because of course that's what I'm trying to do, and I'm glad that you feel that way. Mary, hello, welcome to the stream, and I'm glad that you can understand everything. Yeah, Jamie, I mean, it's good that you have, found that. I'm glad that you have found that inspiration through what I'm saying. And yeah, I mean, it's kind of the moral imperative. It's the least you can do. It's the least you can do. It's the least that we can do is not harm, abuse, kill, and use other animals, other fellow living beings, for absolutely meaningless reasons and purposes. It's the least we can do. The very base level. And I'm very glad to hear that you've been inspired for that. And obviously another one of my wheelhouses of immense knowledge is in nutrition and health. And so, I'm obviously replete with knowledge that can assist with that sort of stuff too. You have to be informed with your nutrition when you eat anything, right? You can't just eat whatever you want on even if you're eating animals and even if you're consuming their weird breast milk and secretions and all the weird stuff that comes out of them, you still need to be conscious of what you're eating and eat the right things and consume a sufficient amount of plants on the side and things and in order to expect to be healthy at the end of the day, right? So when you shift to eating plants purely, you also need to be informed and understand what things have certain nutrients. I mean, it's not that big of a shift. It really truly isn't, but be informed, ask questions of myself or others, or research yourself. The case in point is, especially on that note, is I have lived my life this way for 10 years or so, and you can clearly see that I am mentally sharp, I am physically fit, I am not dying, and I am probably more physically fit and more mentally sharp than a lot of people that you know. So, for those of you that say, oh, well, I really need to do, I can't eat plants. What am I going to do? Die? Where am I going to get my protein? Am I going to wither away? Is my brain going to shrink and I'm going to, get Alzheimer's and die? No, obviously not. Like, you can use me as an example. Go to my profile if you need to, and you can see, like, I've got plenty of muscle on me. Come to my live streams. I've got plenty of intellect in me. So also, like I say, it's just this is just a testament to the fact that it is completely unnecessary and unreasonable to be consuming these things and say that you're justified in doing it, because you're not. There is no reason for it. You're starting a new program, Biodiversity of Ecology, Evolution, and Biology. That's a beautiful, I love those topics. I love those topics. And I'm glad, Mary, I'm glad that you, you feel, sort of a harmony between how you feel and how you think and how I feel and how I think. Yeah, I mean, again, these are all morals and values that we all say that we have. I'm just encouraging you to actually not be a hypocrite and align your actions with the morals and values that you say on a daily basis that you have. And I'm glad that you feel that way, Mary. Like the corporate system, is a form of slavery, yes. In a very loose way of putting it, I will give you that. I will grant that. Bunny, thank you for sharing the live times 10. And Mary, thank you for the follow. Welcome to the community. Lauren, welcome to the stream, and thank you so much. I'm glad that you think so. I appreciate it. And Jay loves like-minded people so much. Yeah, I mean, I'm glad that you do. I love like-minded people when it comes to things that really, like, I want you guys to be different because that's what makes this community beautiful and diverse. However, there are things that really, really matter in this world that you either contribute to or don't contribute to on a daily basis with your actions, literally on a daily basis. And they are so easy to change and not participate in. And those sort of like-minded actions that people take are things that I really respect and I really love and I really appreciate. That is a beautiful thing to me. Truly. Bunny says, yes, Lauren, that's why I can't leave most of the time. That's very sweet, Bunny. Thank you. Jay, thank you for sharing the live. Bunny says, I've joined your fan club for 3 months. Hasn't it been longer than that? Well, I believe it kind of goes away if you're not in the stream for a while. There's some levels to it. I mean, yes, you've been in the community, Bunny, for a lot longer than 3 months. I would say you're going on almost a year at this point. You're probably 9 months in, to be fair. However, if you go inactive in the community for any amount of time, it will reset that. So that's probably where the 3 months is coming from, I would assume. Lauren says, Bunny, I just got here, but I'm just saying I don't mean it weirdly, I promise. I don't think it's weird at all, Lauren. You know, I appreciate it. I'm glad that you think so. Well, Bunny, I mean, I've been dealing with this. You're not the first time or the first person that I've had to go through this question with, because I was just actually asking the same question earlier in the stream. So that's why I know the answer. Because one of us earlier they came back and they said, like, they had sent 300 messages in the stream, but then like 2 seconds later, once they sort of like rejoined the fan club or whatever, like kicked back in, it immediately sent out another message saying that they had sent 400 comments in the stream. Very interesting. So I really think that it's something to do with the fan club in a way. Thank you, Iona. I'm glad that you like my rings. These ones here. Lauren says, it's almost 8 a.m. and I've just finished work. Such a good vibe. It's beautiful to hear. Beautiful to hear. That is, that's what I try my best to do, right? I mean, not every person, not every streamer, whatever, whoever we're referring to, not every friend or whatever is for everyone. But the fact that I am the vibe for you is huge. And I don't take that for granted. I think that's amazing, And obviously you belong here if that's the case. And I'm really glad to have you here. All of you, all of those of you that are here now and have been here for the entire stream or even for an hour, have been in the community for years. All of you, I appreciate you. I do not take you for granted, and everything that I do is for you. Truly. I wouldn't do any of this if it weren't for you guys. I wouldn't be able to. And thank you, Lauren. Man, there you go. Drinking a beer after work. There we go, Lauren. I am not. I can't speak for anybody else, but Elvin Bond, Bunny, exactly. Exactly. Yeah, the fan club, Lauren, it's just it's like it's a function on TikTok live streams. It kind of tracks your tenure within a particular stream's community, the amount of gifts you've sent to that particular streamer, the amount of likes you've tapped, the amount of comments you've sent, the amount of streams you've attended over a particular span of time. So, but we do have like adjacent to that, like actually created by me and the community, is we have a Discord. So we do have a Discord where pretty much everyone you see here is in. That goes for any of you new people. If you want an invite to the Discord, we can obviously get you one of those, and we talk there outside of the streams, and I let you guys know whenever I go live through those. So that's kind of the actual community, as opposed to just the fan club, in quotations, function within TikTok itself. So, and thank you, Jay. I really appreciate you too. And I'm glad that you can't, Amira, and that you appreciate my motivation. I really do. I'm really glad. Yeah, Bunny, I know. I know that you have been sick, and that stinks that it's turned into an ear infection. And you lost your sense of smell. That's no fun. No fun at all. Hizashi, welcome to the stream. And yeah, all of my TikToks and my Reels, at least that are derivative of this stream, look exactly like what you're seeing right now. Because they're derivative of this stream. So you are not wrong. Yeah, Lauren, I mean, that's an excuse. It's not a great excuse, but if that's if basically what you're saying is, I don't have a Discord, so I can't, there's no possible way for me to join the Discord. Well, of course, you could get one. And number two, most of the people in the community and in the Discord didn't have one prior to joining our Discord. Perfectly normal. I wouldn't have a Discord if it weren't for this community either. And again, like I said, I speak for many of us when I say that. So no worries there. No worries if you don't already have one, because plenty of people just get one. But anyways, folks. Oh, nice. So you do have one. That's good. That's good. Yeah, and it's understandable that you wouldn't have had a reason to use it because you weren't part of, a community that you cared to be a part of until, well, what seems like recently to me. What it seems like tonight. But, guys, let's wrap it up. It's almost 3 a.m. I've still got a few things to do before I can actually get to sleep. So I'll wrap it up for tonight. Make sure that myself and all of us get a decent, at least, amount of rest. And so that we can come back tomorrow and continue. And get our daily stream in tomorrow as well. Yeah, Lauren, we'll see about it. You'll join when you want. If and when. Alec, thanks for the follow. Welcome to the community. Usually, over time, those of you that didn't immediately, say, give me the link to the Discord, you ended up getting FOMO and you ended up wanting the Discord over time. Because, of course, I would understand it too. There's a lot of things that we get to talk about and do, and and things like this within the Discord that we just, it's just an added layer of community, you know. But yes, I wish I didn't have to go, Bunny. But yes, we will see you guys tomorrow, indeed. Good night to you too, Amira. Much love to you as well, and I hope that you have a great Saturday yourself. I certainly do. Jolly, thank you for the heart me. Appreciate you. And Bunny, thank you for the heart me also. Indeed, Alec. Rest time. Time for all of us to get some rest. So, for those of you, and hand hearts right back to you, Jolly. So for those of you that are a part of the community, that are following me here, that are in the Discord, any or all of those three things, I will see you in the next stream tomorrow, because of course this is a daily stream. This is what we do. And we will get it. And I'll talk to you in the Discord tomorrow during the day before the stream if you are on there. Much love to you all. And tomorrow, most likely, as long as I have the time, which I should, we'll be doing 2 streams, because on Saturday and Sunday we do 2 separate streams. One is on Twitch, where we do gaming streams, YouTube night streams, and our reading stream as well, our literary stream. And then Sunday we do the same. And then afterward, on both of those days, we do the TikTok stream after. So I will see you guys, hopefully for both, on both tomorrow and the next day. It is The Sims, Bunny, yes, and I've missed The Sims. We'll have to vote on whatever game we do. Hopefully I can leave it to a vote with you guys. That's usually what I try to do, anyway. And good night to you too, Jay. But great suggestion, Bunny. We'll see if you're there, you can vote for it. All right, guys. Love you all. Good night. And I will see you in the next one.